Okay, so working on these cab mounts. Bolt there. Okay, easy enough. And looking down inside the cab, I can see a head there, and there's an access hole. Perfect. Okay, easy enough. So then I come over to the driver's side. Bolt there, okay. And it looks like somebody added a bunch of sheet metal in here at one point. Pull the nut off. Access hole. There is no access hole. So what? How do you get that out? I'm not really sure what's happening here with all this mess. I see Bondo. So somebody was patching something up. Huh. I honestly don't even see the bolt down in there anywhere. Oh, unless that's it. I can't tell. Crap. Okay, so hear me out. I'm using this piece of trash that's gonna end up in the back of this truck to get hauled out to explain this. So I was gonna move the body mounts up to the top to try to keep as close to a 45-degree angle as possible. That ain't gonna fly. That's way too flat. So that's gonna provide very good side-to-side support, but not very much up and down support. So you get a couple of fat guys sitting in this thing, and this is gonna wanna push down and push that out, and then probably blow this out too. So no good there. Obviously, vertical like this, you get a lot of vertical support, but zero side-to-side support. So the back of the cab will want to sway back and forth. So my thoughts are, keep this as close to a 45-degree angle as possible. And this isn't exact, but that gives you kind of an idea on where this should land in order to meet 45 degrees. Unfortunately, that doesn't, the bolt holes are off. In order to make that 45 degrees work, this would have to be way down here. So I'm kind of thinking maybe put that bolt right in that flange there, right before the radius starts. And that's gonna put us, okay, so that puts us about this angle here, which is fairly close. This is kind of hard to do one-handed. So that's gonna put, what did I say? Oh yeah, that's gonna end up somewhere like that. So I mean, that gets us fairly close to 45 degrees if I can get that bolt to land right there, which I can. So I think that's the ticket. It's gonna go on the side of the frame like this, which sucks because I got this big cross member. This was a county bus, dirt maintained roads, so it collected a lot of free fill dirt. So in order to drill and put bolts in here, the back side of this, I'm not even be able to see this, but anyway, I'm pointing without looking. The back side of this has this huge cross member in it. So this cross member is gonna have to come out on both sides, which really kind of sucks because that's a lot of work just to put two freaking bolts in. But those two bolts hold the cab up, so I think it has to be done. So I'll pull these 6 over here, I'll pull those 6 over there. Hopefully, dang, I can't slide it out. Boy, I don't even know if that's gonna work. I was gonna say I would just tap it backwards enough until I had clearance, but then the bolts are gonna hit that cross member trying to get it back in. So, not real sure. You know what I may end up doing actually? I may end up drilling this and using nut zerts, because the force on this thing is going to be mostly downward and inward. There's going to be no like shear, and it shouldn't be pulling back this way. So if I drill this and put nut zerts in there, I shouldn't even have to pull this cross member out. I'll have to see if I have nut zerts that size, but that may be the way to go, because I can get a drill in here real easy. Put those 2 bolts in and call it good. I think that's the plan to continue. So I made these little bushings. This was rubber mounted at one point, but it was the rubber was gone, and it was so thin that I don't really know how it could do anything. So I've got one bushing solid mounted in here. I've got one up in there. So the idea is place this right where it needs to go, and then measure between this one and this one to give me the length of the bar. And then I'll just fish mouth out. Some bar stock, fish mouth so it mounts, mounts tight. Weld it here, weld it up there, and then I'll have one big bar that supports the whole thing. That's the idea. Okay, so trying to figure out a way to keep these as square as possible. This is what I came up with. Little clamp, make sure that that's flat there, and that that's as flat as I can get there. Hopefully that keeps those 2 square, puts it where I want it. Then I can weld that up, and there should be one arm. Okay, so that's the idea. We'll put a couple bolts in here, put this one up here, and I think what I'll probably actually end up doing too, there's so much room between these 2 spaces that I think once I build that other side over there and get it mounted, I'll bolt these in, pull them in tight, bolt these tight, bolt these tight, make sure everything is exactly where I want it to be, and then I'll probably put a crossbar somewhere in here, one that just goes from this side over to that other side, weld them in both sides, and that just locks these pieces all together. That's going to keep everything tight. I think that's going to work just fine. A little bit more than I anticipated for the body mounts, but I think in this particular situation, with the cab being as high off the frame as it is, having a little bit more bracing just isn't going to hurt anything. So that's that.